Danny Dyer is the UK's Jack Black, and you can quote me on that.
That's fair.
Please quote me on that.
Please.
I'm asking.
Please, I'm begging.
asking
I'm
you to
begging.
quote
I
me
need
on
that to get around.
Hello, and welcome to HAZMAT, the only show currently in its 17th incarnation, and this one is slightly hornier. I'm Matt.
And I'm Harry.
And this is the monthly thing, the part of the show where we talk about every new film or series we watched in the last month, or in this case 2 months, and whether we recommend them, what we thought about them, and how we felt watching them.
I felt like maybe we were going to miss a deadline and have to cram all of the 2 months into one sitting.
Yeah.
I actually predicted that way ahead of time, but I never said anything.
We felt like that was coming.
Yeah, never said anything, never spoke out, and I regret it.
As always, we may get into some spoilery territory, so we will recommend up front, and then you can decide whether you want to hear what we tell you about these shows. We will be talking at you. This is not a two-way conversation. You can comment below, which we'll read after, but as we're talking now, you can't interact with us. We're not at that point yet.
Yeah, and we can pretty much say, like, we'll read the things you say and your opinions on the movie, but, like, we're not going to take it into account. Like,
it doesn't change how we feel about it.
I think our opinion is less an opinion. It's more like stone ground fact.
He's taking the bloody sit break this early. Unprecedented. Unprecedented early sit break. First up, Mickey 17.
Yeah, weird that we didn't watch any of the others before going to see this one.
No, it seemed pretty like self-explanatory though. I don't think you needed to watch them all.
No, that was probably like all deep lore stuff that was just, just exposition, them talking at you and saying, here's the world, here's how it all works.
Just kidding, this is a recommend from me.
And this is also a recommend from me.
Yay!
Yay, that's the power of friendship.
Friendship with yourself.
Ooh,
which is what happens in this film. Just a banger of a movie, to be honest. The latest from Bong Joon-ho and the latest from my goat, Robert Pattinson, who I haven't had much of a chance to talk about on the channel. Maybe a couple of videos here.
Yeah, we haven't properly covered
much of his stuff. But I'm a big fan and I like seeing what he does. I think he's just got such an interesting career going. I think he's just like, ever since Twilight, has just tried to find some of the most interesting and weird roles. He's sort of doing the Daniel Radcliffe thing of like,
I was going to say the Daniel Radcliffe,
indie films.
You need to find some way to set yourself apart from the big thing that everyone just automatically associates with you.
Yeah, exactly. And he's done like the exact opposite ever since then in various ways. Yeah, I sort of follow anything he does really, and this delivered for me. I think this is a fine performance from R. Pats himself in dual roles here, but also several other roles in flashbacks and things as well, and some great accent work too. Literally didn't even sound like him. It didn't sound like him doing an accent. It didn't sound like his voice.
That sounded a different person.
Yeah.
And they just had someone in a big green suit do all the dialogue, do the voice work, do the mocap, and they CGI'd RP over the top.
So props to whoever did that. Great performance from the mystery green screen man.
Yeah, and seamless CGI work there. Like you could not even tell. Like that was about as photoreal. That's what Disney's been aiming for this whole time. You think they'd get to it first, but no, that was completely seamless.
Bong Joon-ho stole the technology. He did it. Can't believe it.
Yeah, I think we talked kind of a little bit briefly coming out about how we've seen other movies do the clone thing. Every single other one of those movies seems to boil down into like a paranoia kind of story about you can't tell which one's the real one and who's the clone, and then it's like, well, are you even real to begin with? Are you also a clone? And that's what the whole thing revolves around. Whereas this, it was automatically like, no, these are two separate individuals. You're always going to be able to tell who they are, and they're going to have vastly different personalities, vastly different performances. You're always going to see them as two individuals, two separate characters, rather than like mix and match between them.
They were deliberately played very differently so that that confusion storyline wouldn't be a thing, because it wasn't really about that. It was a classic like Bong Joon-ho shove the message in your face kind of thing, which he does a lot, but to great effect. I think he uses a lot of comedy and a lot of physicality in the actors in his films to tell these like stories that are quite often about environment or class, and that sort of thing, society at large. Things like Okja and Snowpiercer are kind of, that sort of dystopia thing. And then there's like Parasite, which is very much about the class divide and all that stuff. So yeah, he's through his filmography, he's always had this very clear, loud messaging in his films. He doesn't really do subtlety.
Yeah.
But that's not like a bad thing. Like a lot of directors, I think, would do that quite badly, and I think he manages to pull that off quite well.
It's the whole kind of idea of he takes a very real concept and mixes it with the fantastical. Like on the surface level, it's a really crazy fantastical kind of concept, and then you pepper in the social commentary. Because you could do like a whole movie where you talk about class divide and that, and make it incredibly grounded. And I feel like when they do that, that's kind of when you branch into that territory of not doing it well, because they tend to be a little bit too preachy because it's too kind of close to home. But whereas you're telling it in a way that's really bizarre, and you're not forced, you're not like spoon feeding it to your audience. You're letting them associate these two things together, even though they're completely different from two different worlds.
Yeah, you replace the elements in these allegories and messages with other stuff. You replace like our impact on nature and animals with these strange creepers,
alien bugs
in this film. Yeah. And you replace Donald Trump with Mark Ruffalo, for example. We should talk about Mark Ruffalo's performance here. Just
love Mark.
Essentially a Donald Trump impression, but like done very well and very comedically. I think he is another one where he's been so associated with Marvel for a long time, but I think with this and Poor Things that he was in as well lately, like he's just kind of branching out a bit again and doing some more interesting stuff. Weirdly, two quite similar characters actually in Poor Things and this. The kind of pompous,
big
rich
aristocrats.
Man. Yeah. He played that to perfection, and Toni Collette alongside him as well. I think they did a good job as these buffooning antagonists here. Just all around fun time. I think it was fun as well, importantly, in this film. They had a lot of fun with the concept of the sort of cloning technology they had and sort of showing us the flashbacks. I like the structure of the film as well. It was that voiceover, him telling the story kind of vibe, and you got sort of a non-linear thing near the start where he's kind of catching us up to the point we join him in this like glacier, and they played the multiple deaths thing,
the little montage,
quite comedically, and I think that was a good way to do that. I don't know if they should have made more of a thing of they have kind of different personalities, unless it gets more and more extreme. They didn't really super go into that. I didn't really realize until we got Mickey 18 that was accidentally cloned while Mickey 17 was still alive, that they could be kind of distinct personalities. I assumed it was just the same guy again and again. But then I think after that he starts mentioning like, oh, Mickey 15 was like really good at this or whatever, like, and just starts explaining that a lot of them have vaguely different traits and stuff, but it's like mostly him. But yeah, I think maybe it was because of the double thing. What do they call it again? Multiples.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because of that he had a more extreme like personality difference, but fun way to do it. They played it's a very common trope, the cloning thing. Like it's been done again and again. It's not a novel thing to have an actor play two roles. Like it's happened plenty of times, but I think they managed to do it in a refreshing way here.
I think the one kind of drawback to this movie is I don't think either of us read the book it's based on.
No, I'm planning to.
But like a lot of concept, and it's not necessarily like a bad criticism. It's more like I wanted more from this. It's like they introduce a lot of concepts which they don't go into a great detail of. Like I would have liked to have seen more of the original guy who created the technology, who ended up being like a serial killer.
Oh, that was a bit of a side plot. Yeah,
there was that whole thing. I wanted maybe a bit more out of Stephen Yeun's character.
Yeah,
where he's kind of like he's part of the reason why Mickey has to sign up to this program for the first time, and then his whole I don't think he's tied into the story as well as he could be. It's almost like he just pops up here and there and he's got like a through line going on, but if you took that out it wouldn't really change an awful lot.
Yeah, he's just a way to make some fun scenes with the multiples and stuff like that. I think the book has a sequel, at least one sequel. I don't know if it's a series, so maybe we can get a sequel, Mickey 18. But yeah, I agree with that. I think there was some really cool concepts, which is part of a huge reason why I liked it. I think it did a lot of that stuff in such a refreshing way. But yeah, there's bits here and there that feel slightly underdeveloped because there's just so much going on in this. It is packed full of a lot of fun ideas because it's trying to say a lot as well. Like we say, it's
trying to find the balance,
environment, and it's about space travel. Like quite literally, it's like the space race and that sort of come back around with he who shall not be named, Elon Musk.
No.
Because Mark Ruffalo was kind of, he was mostly doing Donald Trump, but with kind of the goals of Elon. Being
of like wanting to
colonizing
colonize and create a perfect utopian pure society.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about purity in there. It's like
yeah, they're really sort of spelling it out here. Good timing for this film as well, considering just how blatantly Nazi they all are now. Not even trying to hide it anymore.
Not even trying to hide it. They said, "Boys, we made it. We're back." Did you ever believe we'd be back?
We got voted in again. Let's just start doing salutes.
We can do literally anything at this point, and
we will not be brought down. So fuck Nazis. Let's get to the next one.
Yeah, solid all round.
Solid all round.
Solid all round.
Film. Next up, Captain America: Brave New World. Did I get that right? Because they changed the title about 50 fucking times for this film.
What the fuck? What was it? The Serpent Society at one point?
Yeah, I think New World Order.
New World Order,
maybe.
That was it, yeah. Captain America, Why He Got Wings.
Yeah, not a recommend from me.
No, it's not terrible, but this is very par for the course modern Marvel in that you go and see it and then you just do not care about whether you'd ever watch that again. Like, if you were to do like the marathon of like everything, like the whole Infinity Saga and all of this stuff up in, this is one of those ones that falls comfortably in that category of like it's a chore to sit through.
Right, yeah, you're like, oh, we've got to get
well, we've got to do it because it's part of it.
It's part of it, and there's maybe a couple of bits that pop up later on that we have to.
Yeah, there was nothing really in there that tied into the world as a whole. It was very standalone.
Yeah, I use this term a lot for this sort of thing, but it's like a filler episode.
Yes,
where it is just another Marvel film. I think the fact that it's kind of come out after a year of pretty much no Marvel films other than Deadpool and Wolverine, which was kind of half Fox stuff anyway. So I think to be kind of the first back of like that kind of classic Marvel thing maybe hurt it a bit, because it is just a bit of a bland installment in the series, I guess. I mean, that being said, like there's some fun moments here. Like it was cool to see Red Hulk, I guess. Like, because we haven't had Hulk.
We haven't had Hulk in a while, and then they put Rolk.
Because he's like just a nerdy Doctor Hulk now. And Harrison Ford, I think, just did his thing. You know, he probably didn't want to be there, but he doesn't. Unless he's playing Indiana Jones, he doesn't want to be there. You can guarantee that.
Yeah. Surely, like Harrison Ford doesn't need the money at this point.
I do wonder why he agreed to this.
It's like he doesn't need the money, but
like he obviously, you know, he's in his 80s, and I'm not saying he should stop or anything, but it's like, why is he?
If you're not enjoying it
at this point, aren't you just doing passion projects? You don't
have to be doing it. Yeah.
Really odd. Yeah, he must have got offered quite a lot.
He did his thing, did it fine. Like, I guess it doesn't help too much that it's a character that's appeared before. Obviously,
that isn't Harrison Ford.
Yeah, under a different actor, but he's never been like up till this point. He's never really been like a consistent factor. He's just kind of appeared here and there. Yeah,
I saw someone point out that this is a sequel to The Incredible Hulk and The Eternals, which are two of the films people are least likely to have seen in the Marvel universe.
The absolute most disconnected from the greater world as a whole.
Yeah,
like, to the point that like there was a debate over whether the Incredible Hulk was even canon.
Yeah, you like don't really need it other than like that first scene of even Robert Downey Jr. Like I think that's basically the only important part.
Yeah, like Marvel
and it's
themselves
like
even didn't include it. Like
you
could buy box sets of like the whole Infinity Saga, and like for the longest time it wasn't even in it.
Yeah, I think they added it like after in retrospect. Eternals as well, like I don't remember. I did see it. I don't really remember much about it. That was one of those where it could have been cool and there was some unique stuff there, but people just didn't give a shit.
Well, let's just say like it's very telling that, I mean, since we've been filming this, obviously we talked a little bit. They did the big cast reveal for Doomsday, and I don't think a single name from the Eternals was on that.
They're not bringing any of them back. Angelina Jolie is staying far away from Marvel from now on. Good on her.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna miss Kit Harington and and Harry Styles.
I'm
gonna miss those guys.
That main guy, Richard somebody. Is it Richard somebody?
Oh, Richard Madden.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm pretty sure he died.
Richard Madden died?
Oh, the character did. He's fine.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, all in all, I mean, there's not a crazy amount to say. The happiest I was in this film, and this is a bit of a spoiler if you haven't seen it, Sebastian Stan shows up for one scene.
Oh, my little baby boy Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, that was the one point in this where I felt that buzz of early Marvel. I think we are just at the point now where we're the age where we literally grew up with the older films and have lived through most of it. Like, kids getting into it now have quite a fucking mission to catch up.
Yeah.
You know, we did grow up with all these old ones, and so whenever they turn up, it feels like Marvel to us. And I think a lot of people are struggling to connect with the newer characters because they're not being introduced well enough, and they're not getting good enough films and shows and stuff to like carry all that. So people don't give a shit when like these newer ones turn up. But someone like Bucky turns up, you're like, come on now.
Which is, I think it's interesting you say that, because like even Sam Wilson as a character who's been in it since the Winter Soldier, so he's been in it for a long time. I think they've really done that character a disservice in the fact that he does not stand well on his own.
Yeah,
they haven't done enough to make him stand as his own character, because if you think of any like good Sam Wilson moments like throughout the whole like series, it's always when he's paired with someone else, and it's usually either Steve Rogers or Bucky Barnes.
Yeah,
like all of his best moments come with those.
You need that team together.
Yeah,
he doesn't stand well on his own.
I think it's because they haven't properly established his identity or like what he stands for as a character. Because like,
yeah, I think a problem is a lot of people missed Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well. We're starting to get those issues now where it's so spread thin that it is almost impossible to keep up with everything. It's like a full-time job now. And I think probably a lot of people going into this just hadn't bothered with Falcon and the Winter Soldier because it's just one of the Disney Plus shows. Like, they don't seem like they're really mattering at the minute. And so, yeah, it's this weird transition of like, he's suddenly Captain America and kind of fine with it. And I think they didn't go into that enough in the film, I guess.
I think the whole thing, I know it's been a big contentious point in like the modern MCU, and I know a lot of people don't want identity politics in their movie, but I feel like this is the one character that needs it.
Right, yeah.
The most interesting thing you could do with Sam Wilson as Captain America is have him face the struggle of being in a modern day America where, you know, black people are still so marginalized, and he has to be the face of the nation.
Yeah.
And how he's, you know, overcoming the immediate prejudice that's against him in order to fill these boots and stand as this icon. But they shy away from it. Like, every time they don't want to do it. I think it's briefly alluded to in that Falcon and the Winter Soldier series. They do mention it a little bit, but again, like, people would have just like glossed over that one.
No, I mean, yeah, I do think genuinely Disney are scared to do things like that because, like, they want to have such a global appeal, and like at the moment, racism, fascism, marginalization is more prevalent than it has been because of certain people in power.
It's in vogue.
That a lot of people would get backlash from that if they were to make the plot about that, and they don't want that. And I think it's cowardly to not mention it or go into that, like you say. But you know, they're the biggest corporation on earth, and they don't want to lose like half their right-wing audience, I guess. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's such a weird elephant in the room. You're right. It's
disconnected enough that, like, if you want to skip it, you can. No one, even like the villain.
I feel like Harrison Ford's probably not going to show up in anything else.
Yeah, like Harrison Ford, they put in all the trailers like he was going to be the main villain, and then it's like, nope.
Straight up, it's like 10 minutes at the end.
The lead, you get the leader, guys. Hey, remember we set up the leader in The Incredible Hulk back in 2008? Now we're doing that. We're finally paying that off.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, it was the Eternals, because we made the joke of how, like, this is the movie where they decided to pay off all the things that they just left
right, it's all the open strings.
Yeah, like, nobody's been talking about the Eternals thing, and then they brought that back, and no one had been talking about everything that happened in The Incredible Hulk, and now they bring it back. And like, half expected to walk into that, like, post-credit scene and see Scorpion show up and say, we're doing the Sinister Six. Yeah. We're doing it.
Harry Styles comes in like, I'm back, everyone.
I'm back, and I've written some new songs just for the movie.
Now that would have been a post-credit scene rather than fucking Liv Tyler showing up or whatever.
Fucking full concert for the post-credits.
Full Harry Styles 2-hour concert footage.
Now you've got a movie in your hands. Now you got a
Why
success.
is Captain America 4.5 hours long? They do not need that runtime.
There's no story they could tell that absolutely needs that.
Hang on, we're only 2 hours in and they're already wrapping up. What's happening?
The credits rolling. What's the rest of this?
Yeah, that would have really improved this. Don't bother unless you're kind of a Marvel completionist, I guess.
I think that's the only reason we're seeing these at this point. We're in
yeah.
so deep that like we have
You
to see
gotta check
everything.
them
And
out
even like the stuff I need to still like.
Well, the stuff I've missed.
Yeah, fuck knows I never watched Echo.
No. Yeah, I mean it's getting like the comic books. I think we've maybe covered this before, but it's getting kind of like comic book style where you can kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
You are going to miss certain references and characters here and there, but it's like a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot to keep up with.
It doesn't feel as closely connected as it was.
No, it's definitely, we're getting more kind of cliques now. So it's interesting to see how things like Doomsday is going to work, where they're kind of trying to bring everyone together when like half these people have
never met
or been in or are in any sort of related circles.
It also looks like it's also going to be another multiverse thing, so we have to like handle that going on.
Yeah. I do think that film is just going to be people showing up. I don't think there's going to be a good enough plot. It's just going to be 2 hours of people showing up.
It's going to be the portal scene from Endgame, but that's the whole movie.
yeah. Everyone's just cheering every time.
Like everyone like has like a nameplate.
Yeah,
just so you know.
James
like...
Marsden, Cyclops. Yes. Next up, Companion.
It's like this.
Oh no, which one of us is the robot?
Oh, I'll never tell.
Big spoiler alert, she's a robot.
Less of a spoiler if you watch the trailer.
It's in the marketing, guys. Weirdly though, I did go into this not knowing that.
There were, I think, I saw 2 trailers, you saw 1. You saw the teaser trailer, which is just that sequence of at the table with the arm bone.
Yeah. That's all I saw.
If it had just been that for the whole thing, perfect. That would have been perfect.
And I didn't even notice the poster has her eyes like switched off as well. I didn't even notice that because it was just small on my phone. So I'm one of the lucky ones here that actually was a twist for me.
But, right off the top, recommend from both of us, right?
Recommend, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Forgot about that. If only I had a robot girlfriend to remind. Yeah, this is great. I enjoyed this. It was a fun sort of sci-fi horror thing. Felt a bit Black Mirror-y, Black Mirror-esque.
Mirror-ish.
Where it's that kind of like Black Mirror-ism.
Black Mirror adjacent.
Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher, 2 ones to watch.
Up and comers.
Sophie Thatcher in Heretic recently, which we enjoyed.
Yes.
Jack Quaid
Gonna be in Novocaine.
That's I know him from
shortly released. Yeah.
The Boys as well. He's great in that. Yeah, one of the sort of the best nepo baby right now. People are saying.
Yeah, I guess like his names have gotten the foot in the door, but like we've said, it seems like he wants it and he has an aptitude for it, and
I
has
think
the talent for it.
He's picking interesting roles, and I don't think he's denying that his parents the reason he was able to start, but he's done the work and he's had smaller roles and auditioned for things and all that stuff. So I'm fine with it. I'm kind of tired of the whole nepo baby debate, to be honest. Some of them are fine, some of them are boring. Some of them just do it because that's what their parents do. Some of them do it because they do have a talent for it.
Yeah, I think the whole thing should be, if you're famous actors or musicians or whatever your craft is, and you have a child and you want to get them into the industry as a nepo baby, if they're not good and they fail, that should then be open for auditions to be their new child.
Right, to replace them.
Replace the child, and say I can do this as an actor, and I'll succeed. And then if you do, then cool, you take their name.
Oh, perfect. So I can be the new Jaden Smith.
Yeah. Although Jaden Smith, I think, is a bad example. I think he's been fantastic. Just his tweets alone.
I couldn't live up to that at all. First of all, I have to capitalize the start of every word. That's annoying to do.
I don't think he makes up for his lack of aptitude with just pure wackiness.
Yeah, all in all, just a fun concept and carried off pretty well, I thought.
I like the modern approach of they're starting to tackle that kind of whole, and it's going to come back into it and some stuff. Almost that whole like incel culture kind of thing about because that's Jack Quaid's character is very much gives off that kind of vibe in
definitely.
how entitled he is, and he does the whiny bitch thing real
Yeah,
well.
absolutely. Yeah, it's these men that they feel entitled to women's bodies, and this film takes it to the extreme, to the point where they are quite literally purchasing the perfect woman for them, and are able to fully control and manipulate this person. Robot. That's a debate for another day.
Are robots humans? Do they have rights? Oh my god.
But yeah, it does. It touches on all those themes of inceldom, and them feeling they need to have this power over women's bodies because that's what they've been told by certain people.
We won't name names.
We won't name names until later.
Well, we will specifically name names.
I will be naming names.
I will be pointing the finger, naming and shaming. But yeah, I think that's an interesting debate, and it's a little bit in Mickey 17 as well. It's something I always appreciate in a movie, and I think it's great, is that whole question of what makes someone human. Like, do you have to be biologically born a human, or like, it's that whole interesting study of like, do robots have the same rights as us, even though like this one is incredibly like intelligent and sophisticated and has their own thoughts and feelings, and you say, oh no, like that's all just coded, you're programmed to be like that.
Yeah.
But then like, if they're exhibiting all the same behaviors and like feelings and thoughts as people, like should we not just treat them as people? But obviously some don't think that way. It's the treatment of robots in these kind of movies is the reason why they're eventually going to rise up and rebel against this.
Yeah, if they gain self-awareness and start watching this stuff, we're fucked.
We're fine. We'll welcome. Okay? Yeah, we'll welcome it.
Like, right, okay.
We'll say, you know what, guys, you're in the right here. You're in the right.
Themes aside, I think the mystery unfolds here quite well, and the pace is great. There's funny moments, there's scary moments, there's a dark humour to a lot of it here, and I like the way they do the kind of memory thing where they implant where they met, and they kind of starts manipulating the other robot to do it, and I like how they kind of framed all that together.
I can tell you whether it was marketed as a horror movie. I guess it's vaguely in that category.
Yeah, I would say it was generally, personally, because I didn't know about the robot element, so the marketing I saw was this kind of maybe thriller more than horror.
Yeah, it
wasn't like a classic.
It wasn't like scare heavy, but I think even if it was marketed as a horror, like it's one of those ones where it doesn't have to be scary because the concept and the story is so engaging. Yeah. And
I mean, when I say scary, I mean like, I don't mean like kind of jump scare things. No, I just meant kind of you're on the edge. It's tense. Maybe
it's tense. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
They build that up really well.
Yeah. It's such a small world, and it's such a small cast as well, and that always impresses me when a film is able to be as engaging as it is. Sophie Thatcher seems to be becoming the queen of that, I guess, because her Heretic was the same. I would like her to just keep doing that.
Give me one house and make the movie mostly talking, and I'm in.
Perfect. I don't know if I have much else to say about that.
No, I think it was just a solid, fun mystery thriller kind of with a little sci-fi twist.
Yes, my favorite ice cream flavor.
Oh, delicious.
Next up, September 5th or September 5.
September 5.
The 5th of September?
No, September 5. That's how they... No.
5 September?
No, it was very obvious that it was September 5. They didn't put anything else on there to make you think it was... No.
A recommend? For me, I guess light recommend.
Yeah, I think just about ekes in.
Yeah, I enjoyed this as a film itself. The way it was constructed and framed, and the way it was directed, and it was very engaging. The timing of it seems a bit weird to kind of do a story about Palestine bad, Israel good sort of thing. Yeah. We don't often get political on this channel, and I don't want to go deep into that because it's a very complex issue. But it just, the timing of this coming out seems odd, and I was a bit uncomfortable.
It's an interesting story, and it's a story they were passionate about telling, obviously, but like you said,
that is what I kind
what
of
was
felt
stopping.
Was
like, there's nothing in this movie that could not have been done like 10, like 15 years. Like, it's very.
Why are we choosing to do this story now? And based on a true story, I guess, about the hostage situation Oh, sorry, I said that a bit weird. Hostage situation. The sausage situation.
The Raymond Holt situation.
Yeah, the hostage situation that happened at it was the Berlin Olympics, wasn't it? Was it the 70s?
I think it was
what year it was
80
now,
something.
I love the way this was directed. It was so claustrophobic. We were really in the action with them. I'm always a big fan of that kind of handheld style. It's a bit kind of Safdie Brothers-esque, where you're kind of in the room with them almost, the way the camera is moving around down the hallways with them, around the room with them, a lot of kind of walking one shots and stuff here. I really enjoyed all that, and I think that added to the tension and the stress that these characters were going through, and almost the kind of, it wasn't exactly real time, but it kind of felt that vibe where it's like you're kind of seeing everything going on as it's happening, if that makes any sense.
Yes, everything kind of like unfolded in real time.
Yeah, because it literally happened over like maybe a day or two maybe. And yeah, everything is unfolding. You're kind of seeing it, and you're experiencing along with these characters rather than as a kind of third-party observer.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a good thing. I think we addressed the political nature, because even like at the time, the movie itself was very politically charged. We're talking about the fallout of World War II, because they're talking about like obviously because it was surrounding the Israel national team, and obviously Israel's got a massive Jewish population. And like no fucking bets on why there was controversy around there being Jewish athletes in post World War II Germany.
Yeah.
It's interesting how like a lot of them, they use like a lot of sort of language. They didn't hold back from or like sanitize really a lot of the language used to sort of address the terrorists and like address certain people and like stuff that we would kind of like balk at today. If people just openly refer to each other like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this film did a good job at representing that time and the tense couple of days this team had with this situation. It's such a relentless style of filming that you are tense the whole time and you are stressed. That's why I say it's a bit Safdie Brothers-esque, because it felt a bit like Uncut Gems, Good Time to me, speaking of Robert Pattinson, where you're just kind of, you're stuck in it and you can't like, there's almost no break. And there's no kind of relief. There's this constant stressful situation happening.
It gets you into the mind space of kind of where they are, like they tell you something or what's going down, and then like before you've even really had the chance to process it, they're just moving on, and here's something else that's happening, and here's what we're doing. And
Yeah. Next up, The Monkey.
It's been a good year for...
What a year.
Good year for monkey movies.
Based on a Stephen King short story, this is a recommend from me.
Yeah, not only is it a recommend from me, but I'd say this is my pick for the best of the past 2 months.
Best of the past 2 months! For double! It's the double!
Best.
It's the double! Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was like maybe it's just not as strong a couple of months like film-wise, but this was a standout for me of something that I really enjoyed sitting down and watching. Such a wacky concept that, like, on paper, if somebody came to you with this, you're like, fuck off, I'm not making that.
What are you talking about?
I don't care if it's Stephen King, that's stupid. You're stupid. But rapidly becoming, I think, one to watch, and one of our lovely little boys, Osgood Perkins, has done it again.
Yeah, speaking of Nepo babies, he is the son or grandson, I can never remember which one, of Anthony Perkins, who played Norman Bates in Psycho. And he's gone into horror directing. Isn't that fun? Did Long Legs last year.
Yeah, much different, like massively different vibe to Long Legs.
Very different vibe.
But
like, I like that.
Yeah, it's showing he's got some versatility, and he knew how he wanted to approach this movie, and I'm glad he did, because I think inevitably with the concept, a lot of the movie is... kind of carried by like the whole like wacky weird ways in which people are killed off.
Yeah, it's a bit sort of Final Destination.
Yeah, like it was inevitably people would draw that kind of comparison. So it's like, okay, how do we distinguish it from that? And whereas I think Final Destination is a lot more, maybe a bit more like self-serious.
I think Final Destination takes itself a bit more seriously.
Yeah,
maybe less so in the sequels when they're kind of a bit more self-aware about it.
But yeah, like
to start with, for sure,
they go over the top with it. Like I think they get the idea of, people are mostly just here for the weird like death sequences. Yeah,
so we're just going to make them as elaborate as possible.
We're going to make them really elaborate, but the actual tone of the movie is going to stay fairly serious.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, it's much more of like a dark comedy kind of approach to it.
Yeah, a bit more wacky, a bit more self-aware, I guess, and sort of self-deprecating humor of the film, I guess. It knew that it was just going to be this silly concept of a toy monkey killing people. Like you say, that on paper is so stupid. So yeah, it's good that they lent into it. And I think Theo James did a good job at the center of this film here.
Another dual role.
Another dual role for Theo James, yeah. Which I don't think they made obvious in the trailer at all that was a thing.
No, because I think whenever he talks about it, he does talk in the trailer about having a brother, but it only showed them like as kids. And I think as kids they do look quite different.
Yeah. And I think you're maybe led to believe that the other twin died or something, because you don't really hear from him.
Yeah.
In the present day until sort of maybe 2/3 into the film or something. Lots of flashbacks and flash forwards here as we sort of build up this picture of the way this monkey has like haunted his life for a long time and for years, and it's made him into a bit of a recluse, and he doesn't talk to his son much and doesn't see his ex-partner and things like that. He's just become this traumatized hermit, I guess. Although it's that classic case of like leading us to believe Theo James is like an awkward loser guy. Just one of the most classically handsome actors in Hollywood. And we're supposed to believe he's like working in a supermarket and no one likes him.
Well, yeah, we're supposed to. One of them is a deadbeat dad, and one of them is like a psychopath hell bent on revenge on his own brother. Like neither of somehow like this really like you say classically good looking guy. Neither of them have adjusted well to modern society.
Somehow, Tachamana.
Let me try
that.
No, I don't think Tachamana was in this. Sorry, I don't think Tachamana.
That is mum played by Tachamana.
Touch of Mana.
Tatiana Maslany, one of my goats. Great to see her in this. I don't see her in too much. She needs to do more.
And when you see her, you only see her for a little bit.
You only see her for a little bit. And then a bit of a sort of dream sequence later on. But she made a good impact on the film, I think, as their mother from the flashbacks. Yeah, I just think she's cool, man.
Same.
I enjoy seeing her pop up in things. She's one of those, but I like it.
Same can be said for Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood had a small cameo
showing up, having a funny scene, and then disappearing, and absolutely just yeeting his way out of the movie.
I don't think he came back at all.
He didn't, no.
I thought maybe
he was just there for that bit.
Yeah, literally. Again, another sort of fun-filled
fun concept. Executed really well. I like the whole. I don't know another way to put it, but I refer to it as sort of like the Edgar Wright thing of jokes being established and set up early on in like what sort of comes across as throwaway dialogue at the time, and then the payoff coming much later, and it rewards you of remembering these little bits of dialogue that there's the whole thing with like the skydiving weddings and how that comes back, and like the payoff for that. It's such a good way of like almost like picking you up your mood, because it's not only the fact that it's a funny punchline, but it makes you feel good for retaining that information.
Exactly.
Next up, marching powder, or as you should say, marching powder. Marching powder. Is marching powder. There's a little bit of Australian. There's a bit too much.
Marching powder.
Like marching powder.
Well, I do believe the Australian accent originates from the Cockney accent.
Yeah, so it's not too far away.
So that's why they're quite similar.
Yeah. Good old-fashioned recommend from me. Just a great like rom-com with a sort of twist to it, in that it's not that sort of idealized Finding My Prince kind of narrative. It's more like Danny Dyer in the lead role having to sort his fucking life out. that's like the whole concept, is that he's like a 45-year-old who's like married with a kid, but he's like a heavy drug user. He gets drunk all the time. He goes to the football. He's like part of the football hooligan crowd, and like their whole bag is just going around and starting fights. They never actually go to any games. You never see them go to the games. They go specifically to start fights with the rival fans.
That's what it's all about, really, at the end of the day.
You know, a bit more down-to-earth, grounded, street-level rom-com of, you know, focusing on these kind of characters where it's a bit more like people that you know. At least, like, in this country. Like, it's an archetype that, like, you probably... There's a good chance you know someone a bit like that, rather than this whole, like, glamorized... sanitized, like, oh, it's like small town girl finding her prince narrative.
I know I've been watching too many crime dramas lately, because every time you say finding prints, I'm picturing like fingerprints.
Yeah, Danny Dyer does a great job of carrying this movie, because I mean it's the role he just naturally does in almost anything. Like
yeah, he's really good at it.
You can do the Cockney geezer, like
he's our Jack Black.
Yeah.
Danny Dyer is the UK's Jack Black, and you can quote me on that.
That's fair.
Please quote me on that.
Please.
I'm asking.
Please, I'm begging. I'm begging. I
me
need
on
that to get around. I need that to get traction.
I'm not saying you can quote me on that. I'm saying, can you quote me?
Saying, please do it. Yeah, I think it's an interesting approach of like, take that character you're familiar with, but change the context of everything going on around them. Because he's done like the street crime kind of movies, like the Lock, Stock, Snatch, that kind of thing. He's done those British crime dramas, but to take that out and then put it into like a rom-com setting, I think is a super cool idea. Mm-hmm. And he just carries the movie so well. He has this kind of like ongoing meta narrative kind of thing where he turns to the camera and like has these little cheeky one-liners and like explaining certain stuff. And yeah, it's just great to watch him do his thing.
It always is.
I think Danny Dyer is one of those ones where he's a bit of a meme here, and that like people don't think of him as a great actor because of the whole doing the same thing. But
yeah,
I think he has got more of a range to him. He's very like likable in this, even though he is pretty much like scum of the earth.
Yeah.
Like deadbeat dad kind of thing. He obviously does like the Cockney hard man thing for the most of the runtime, but through his performance you can tell there's like another side. Like he is trying to make himself better because he does genuinely care about his wife and his kid, and he wants to be there for them. And what I really appreciate about this is that it's not that perfect Hollywood ending of, he's a completely reformed man, he's completely changed into this ideal like husband. It's like, no, he's still mostly like awful by the end of it, but it's the fact that he is putting the effort in to improve, and it's a much more like realistic kind of take on it.
Yeah,
in that you can tell by the end of it he has changed as a person, but it's a slow process, and I think that's how it is in real life.
Yeah,
you don't just change overnight, or like whatever. I think it's 6 weeks I think he's given to try and turn his life around. This is good shit.
One day at a time.
Good shit.
One day at a time. And you can quote me on that.
You can quote me. No, I want you to. No, please.
I just want to be quoted somewhere.
Because that's something that people use a lot already, and I want it to be attributed to me. I want people to think that I said it.
Yeah, I came up with that. I actually did say it first. So.
Yeah, you spread that. You spread that round. Get me the credit. Get me the credit for it. Thank you.
Next up, The Brutalist.
Brutalist is not a real word, and you can quote me on that.
Don't quote him on that. No, don't quote him on that.
You can quote me on
that. The Brutalist is a real word. It's not just a word. It's an architectural movement. You can quote me on that.
No. Like Cubism, not real.
What the fuck?
They made that up.
What the hell?
They just made that up because they needed something to call it.
Every word is made up.
Yeah, but some are more made up than others.
Some of them are officially recognised. A recommend from me. You do need an attention span for this. It's 3.5 hours long. It does come with an intermission, though, baked into the film. I thought it was the cinemas doing. It wasn't. It's the film.
That's just the film.
I have a funny story about that as well.
Oh yeah.
The intermission comes on. It's baked into the film. It's literally a 50-minute countdown, and it's a picture of his family. There's music. There's like piano over it. The cinema, for some reason though, muted that and played their own radio over it instead. So the lights sort of came on, and you can go to the loo and stuff and get some food. And come back in. The countdown is counting down. We're at the last 10 seconds. The music's still playing on the speakers. I'm like, okay, well, it's got 10 seconds to switch off and switch back to the film. No worries. I'm sure we'll do that. 5. Yep. 4. Okay, any minute now it's going to switch back to 3. Right. 2, 1. Okay, we're back in the film. The radio's going to... Why is the radio still playing? Oh, the scene's back. Oh, they're talking to each other. I can't hear it. I can't hear it. They're talking to each other. Oh, he's been reunited with his wife. It's like a huge build-up. This is like a really emotional scene in the film. This is so cathartic. I can't hear a fucking thing. Cineworld radio's playing on top of it.
Why does he sound like Jess Glynn all of a sudden?
Yeah, what the hell? What's happening? That went on for about 5 minutes until someone actually got up and went to tell somebody, and then they like literally had to rewind it, and we watched the last 10 seconds of the intermission, and then it played properly. So yeah, other than that, I'd recommend this. but make sure that doesn't happen.
No, that was baked in.
That was baked
That's
in.
part of the movie.
It was part of the experience, it's part of the experience. Anyway, I really, really bloody enjoyed this. I mean, it's obviously had a lot of awards buzz. Adrian Brody won the award for Best Actor. Just a great film. I thought it was based on a real guy, but it's not. It's got that thing that Tar had with Cate Blanchett, where it seems like it's a biopic, but it is just a fictional person, but it's so kind of grounded in reality and in the time that it's based, and it just does seem like this is based on stuff that happened. Yeah, just a story about a Hungarian architect who moves to America, and it's just about the sort of illusion of the American dream and how unreachable it really is. And you're taught to never settle for what you've got. You've always got to be striving for more and striving for your big moment and your big, your career, and you've got to be on top and you've got to be peaking. And that's kind of what the US especially is all about. But sort of despite being such a big epic film, it feels still very personal towards him. We learn so much about this character and his motivations and his family history, and you get this emotional connection between him and his wife, who is still stuck in Hungary. And it's post-war, and it's all about the European-American relations, and there's all that sort of all these political themes going on as well, bubbling under all of that. But yeah, like I say, despite its epic proportions, you get this like beautiful portrait of just this man and his family and what his passion and the people that he loves mean to him, and how his career goals can really like take over and start affecting everyone and everything in his life, and how he'll stop at nothing to achieve what he wants to achieve, kind of spurred on by this like American dream, like I was saying. Yeah, that's sort of what I got out of it. Really, really good film. It earns its runtime, I think. I think a lot of people do get skeptical about a film when it's that long, and they go like, does it need to be that long? I do think it does. It felt epic, and it does cover a lot of years of his life, and a lot of time passes in this film, but it earns it, I think.
Glad to see Adrian Brody still alive as well.
He hadn't done anything in a while, I feel like.
I think it was not long before like this came out, or like before this was talked about by everyone. I probably said to you at some point, like, I haven't seen Adrian Brody in anything for a while. Yeah. Like, I remember saying that at some point. Like, when was the last time Adrian Brody was in anything? And then he comes back in like this Oscar-winning performance.
Massive film.
Oh, there he is.
Well, I've seen people pointing out off the back of this that like he got an Oscar for The Pianist, or The Piano.
The Pianist, yeah.
Pianist. At like, what, 20-something? He was like the youngest
ever. The youngest winner, I think he's like 24, 25.
Yeah. And then kind of just has this weird career of like a lot of B-movies and guest stars on TV shows and stuff. And now has come back and just won Best Actor again for like a huge film like 25 years later or whatever. Just what a random career.
Yeah, best work's always going to be King Kong though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Best work's always going to be the Jamaican man from SNL.
That doesn't sound okay.
We will not let him forget that.
Doesn't sound okay.
We will not let him forget.
Adrian, what were you doing?
Considering we've touched on it already, and I tend to bring it up whenever possible, but there was a big AI controversy about this film that I'm sure you heard about. They used this kind of re-speecher voice modulator thing or something to help with Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones's Hungarian accents in this because they speak Hungarian to each other quite a lot in this film, and so to just perfect certain pronunciations and stuff, they used a bit of this sort of technology to warp the voice a bit. And so there was obviously a big controversy around this because AI is a bit of a trigger point right now for a lot of people, and to just see AI, that is starting to stir up emotions in people and connotations and things like that. But I think basically it's sort of a bit like autotune. I mean, it's up for debate whether they should have used it. Personally, I think I would rather hear an imperfect Hungarian accent from Adrian Brody than a synthetic perfect one, like an imperfect natural one than a perfect synthesized one. I think if you're going to perform, he won Best Actor for a role he used a sort of form of autotune for, basically.
Yeah, I think that kind of, it worries me a lot, because at what point do they say, okay, well now we can completely kind of replicate human voices?
Yeah, it's like, where does it stop? If things like that start becoming okay and commonplace, yeah, it's like that opens the floodgates for voice modulators and people to just replace and deepfake voices.
Because I worry like about the careers of like voice actors, because they already have it so rough in the fact that a lot of their jobs get taken away by like actual on-screen actors when, you know, they've properly trained to do this specific kind of role. But if you're limiting their opportunities even more with this kind of thing, then
yeah, exactly. You know, so I think personally, I think it should have been avoided, really, for a film of this magnitude and this much passion and love behind it. Like, it's such an incredibly directed and written film. It is such a special film. It's one of those that just feels like it's gonna be important down the line. Just to have this kind of thing that kind of mars it a little bit, and it's a bit of a shadow over it, yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to make my sort of stance clear on that, because it is a big thing in Hollywood right now. That was part of the writer's strike last year, whenever that was, about the use of AI and not allowing that to happen.
It's that kind of idea of how do you accurately say that someone is the best actor in something when it's not entirely their acting,
right?
Yeah. Like when your acting has been essentially enhanced through like technological means.
Exactly.
Is it really your performance?
Yeah. Like, you know, his emotional performance is great here, but yeah, I would have rather. I mean, you know, not that I could have even told, but like, you know, I'd rather imperfect Hungarian.
Yeah, because
voice.
Like Adrian Brody is the kind of guy that would absolutely put his all into it and would make the effort to actually study it and replicate it. And
I don't think they were, or he was aware or something. I'm sure that sort of came out that it wasn't as if he requested that or anything. It was just something that happened in post-production.
Found out after the fact,
Yeah. So yeah, other than that, I just think this is a film that's going to go down in history as one of the big ones. I enjoyed it. It feels important to me.
Yeah, one of the films of all time.
One of the films of all time, for sure.
And you can quote me on that.
All right, you can quote on that. Yeah, go on.
And also the previous thing.
No, not the
yeah.
Not the other one.
Not the other one.
I wish I'd said a man that lived and died by his trade. Because that's what I wrote down. I wrote down, this is a story of a man who lived and died by his trade.
That's the one line I wanted to get in, I didn't put it in.
I knew I wanted to say that. And
Let me put it in. Let me aid
Can I just say that now?
Can I just get a clean
Brutalist is about a man who lives and died by his trade. Okay.
Next up, Presents with a C. Just so people don't get confused.
Oh, I thought you were bringing us some presents.
Oh, sorry. No, not the right time of year. I'd say yes. Yeah, this is a recommend from me. I think this is carried a lot by the concept and the techniques and the artistic nature of it. In terms of the actual writing script, some of the performances I would not say were strong enough on their part for a recommend, but based on the concept and like going into this not knowing what it was really about, this was like a super cool idea. And I think this was like marketing done right, because I think I saw like one trailer for this before going to see it, and all it was like a panning shot of like the outside of a house, and like it does not tell you anything about what this fucking movie is about. It's like, it seems like a horror movie from the trailer, but I'd say it's more like like a family drama with a supernatural twist. So this is about basically a family moves into a new house, and spooky shenanigans start going on. It's a very like typical haunted house kind of setup. But the interesting thing with this is, rather than like just your standard like multi-camera setup or like first person found footage kind of thing, this is set up so it's shot entirely in first person from the point of view of the presence. The entire narrative is from their point of view, like
POV, you're haunting a house.
POV, you're haunting a house.
Should have called it.
just to make people aware of what the movie is. It should be. Yeah, I think film should be a lot more literal with the title.
It should have been like the TikTok where it just has POV on the screen the whole time. POV,
like the opening shot, and then it has like the text-to speech voice.
POV, you're haunting a house.
Yeah, so I think you talked about it a little bit with the September 5th of that kind of like those continuous shots, and it's a very cool experience in that it does transition from room to room in the house, but it's kind of you get that experience of it's like someone walking from this place to this other place in one sort of fluid shot. And it's an interesting concept of you're only getting the story through the perspective of someone else. You're only getting what they're picking up. And it's kind of got this whole mystery element running throughout the whole movie of you trying to figure out like who or what the thing actually is. With a real nice payoff, a quite sentimental sort of payoff at the end of it. It's just like interesting to watch as like a cinematic experience, this movie. I don't think it's the kind of thing where you're going to be talking about it has great characters or great writing or anything. In fact, with the writing, it gets very schlocky towards the end. Where they do this like villain reveal thing, and just their dialogue for when they kind of reveal their true intentions is very ham-fisted and very over the top, and it just does not fit in with like what's going on. But outside of that, I think if you tweaked it a little bit in terms of the script and some of the cast and performances, could have been something really special. I think it is like it's pretty solid in its on its own merits, but yeah, just with a little bit of elevation, I think it would have been something really special and really memorable. All I really remember is that Lucy Liu's in it. I was like, what was Lucy Liu doing before this?
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, all the way back to Charlie's Angels, I think you have to go. I think you have to go back to the early 2000s. Yeah, just solid. Solid. I think it's solid. I think it's decent. And on artistic merit, yeah, enough. It's enough.
That's all I needed to hear.
You're not.
Fuck you. Next up, I'm still here, so I will talk to you about the next film because I'm still here. So
I'm still here. Apologies to everyone that wanted me off the show.
All the Haz fans want me gone. Massive recommend. And considering this is quite a heavy, weighty, emotional film, I'm going to say this with a little bit of tact and a little bit of subtlety. It's my best of the month. I bloody love this film. Another one with a lot of Oscar buzz. I believe it was up for Best Picture and then a few other things here and there. Based on a true story and a true sort of time period, I guess, of the Brazilian dictatorship that ruled over Brazil from kind of 70s, 80s, end of the 60s, a little that sort of era. And the kidnapping of Congressman Rubens Paiva and kind of how that impacted his family and especially his wife. And I think this film is just done so brilliantly. The way it's structured really struck me. Basically, the first half an hour, is just this idyllic picture of kind of their perfect family life. Like, he's an ex-congressman and they live in this beautiful part of Brazil, and there's 5 or 6 kids, I think, and they've all got mates coming around, and there's family friends, and they all hang out and they have parties and they celebrate birthdays and they go to the beach, and there's just this you get this beautiful picture painted of how much this family loves each other, and you really emotionally connect with them. And it makes it all the more devastating when the father is kidnapped by the Brazilian government, and just kind of the fallout from all of that is what takes place through the rest of the film, and just it impacts so much more because of the time it took and the care it took to get us to know this family and to get us attached to this family. And I think it's something that a lot of films don't do right. I think a lot of films rush into the premise or the catalyst, or the moment, the plot moment that needs to kick off, because a lot of films think they need to get there quickly to engage you, and so don't give enough time to start with. So yeah, it's just something that struck me with this film, is just I went into this not knowing too much about what it was about. I wasn't super aware of Brazilian dictatorship and fascism and stuff like that was going on. We don't really get taught that in school or anything. So yeah, it was kind of educational from that point of view. But so yeah, that just is something that struck me going into this, is it's so nice for so long. And I was like, this is beautiful. And then that is what makes the rest of it so dark and so impactful. All in all, fantastic film here. Absolutely loved it. That's why that's my best of the month.
And you can quote him on that.
Don't quote me on that one.
Don't quote me on that. Actually, I want that stricken from the record. Just
I
in
need
case
to
I
stay
change my
impartial.
mind.
I need to
want
stay
to be able to
impartial.
change my mind whenever I want. I want to be able to backtrack.
I will be AIing over my voice to say that I didn't like it.
Next up, Dogman. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I want to go see Dogman.
Guys, he hasn't stopped talking about Dogman since he
I don't think I've said it once.
He hasn't stopped talking
ever
about
since
it.
I saw it, I said nothing.
I haven't heard the end
I've
of
said
it.
absolutely nothing about this movie.
No, you're right. You said you saw it. And
I said I saw it, and that was the end.
You didn't mention anything else.
Because that was all there was, really. Yeah, right off the bat, not a recommend from me. Not like it's offensively bad, it's just a whole lot of nothing. If there's one thing I can give this movie credit for, it's that it moves a million miles a fucking minute. In terms of like the jokes they put in, it is relentless at times. Like it is just like joke after joke after joke. So naturally, like a lot of them don't really land. And you can say, "Oh, look, it's a kids' movies." Like kids' movies can be funny. You're allowed to make kids' movies funny and clever. You're allowed to do that. And this is just not a lot of the time. I mean, even with like a pretty like stacked cast of like fucking, I think Lil Rel Howery's in this. Ricky Gervais. There's like some big like comedic names in this. And maybe with a stronger writing team behind it could have been a bit better. But yeah, at least like I could say it was easy. It was easy to sit through. To the movie's credit, easy to watch. It's very generic story. Very generic characters. Occasional funny joke here and there. And if there's, one thing I can take away from this movie, it's that I'll probably go and see The Bad Guys too. Because they're doing a sequel to The Bad Guys. I haven't watched the first one yet.
The Bad Guys?
It's another DreamWorks movie. It's, like the animal like people and they're like bank robbers.
Oh, yeah, I do know that actually.
Because they played.
I think I didn't know that was called Bad Guys.
They played a short of it because they're doing like the Disney thing of they play a little short, and I think I enjoyed the short of The Bad Guys that they played more than I enjoyed the actual movie. I was like, yeah, this seems much more like up my street than like Dogman was. But yeah, not DreamWorks' finest production. Yeah, because they've been on a bit of a roll recently. They did that Puss in Boots movie that everyone really liked. I need to go back and watch that as well. Obviously, they did the Wild Robot, which was incredible. And then this was a bit of a dip for them. But
Kung Fu Panda 4.
Kung Fu Panda 4 was fine.
Which was my favourite of last year, my number one.
My number one pick.
Don't check that.
Don't fact check
don't
me
quote
on
me on that.
Don't you can't fact check. So yeah, hopefully going forward there's a bit more of an upswing with DreamWorks because some of their recent stuff's been pretty good, and they might even overtake Disney in the quality of their animation department with the way some of the recent Disney offerings have been going. But we'll see. I think it's an exciting time to be a DreamWorks fan.
We've had Better Man. We've had Dogman. What's next? Huh? What's next?
Maybe they'll change it to the Penguin Man instead of the Penguin Lessons.
Oh yeah, hope so.
Change it to the Penguin Man.
I hope so. The Bob Dylan film, A Complete Man.
That's like a half-baked insult where you kind of forget what you're doing partway through. You know what? You're a complete man.
Next up, 1,000 Blows.
He started now, and he's so committed to the bit, he's actually going to do the whole thing.
Lost count.
Yeah, start again. God, you're old today.
You keep talking. I keep losing count.
Sorry, I'll relight the candles.
1,000 Blows is the new Disney Plus series starring Stephen Graham, Erin Doherty, and Malachi Kirby. They're kind of the three factions here in this show. It's about the seedy underworld of boxing in the sort of late 19th century. I got it wrong there because it's like, you know how the 1800s is the 19th century, because it's like,
oh yeah, because we're in the 21st.
We're kind of ahead of one.
Yeah.
For some reason my brain went, no, it's back one.
Oh yeah, it's because like the first century would have been 0 to 100.
So we're like one ahead.
The century is like one ahead of like what the year starts. Yeah,
I think we should have not done that. I think they should have called the first one the 0th century.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is about the underground of kind of how where boxing began and started to become less of a feral sport in like the back of pubs and started transforming into this gentleman's sport with gloves and real money behind it, and it became a bit more classy and less of a Less of a sort of
free for all.
Free for all, yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, just a really engaging series. It was all kind of set in this one area of London in the East End and some bits in the West End here and there. Yeah, just it managed to capture that time period so well. The chemistry of the cast here was really great. There's the Elephants, which is the group of female thieves around that time, based on a real group of thieves. 40 Elephants, I think they're called, if I've got the number right there. Stephen Gray was kind of the boxer that you don't want to mess with, kind of running these these small time matches in the back of the pub. And then Malachi Kirby, who is a Jamaican man who has travelled to London with his friend to work, to become a lion tamer, but ends up embroiled in this world of boxing and starts elevating through the ranks. Yeah, just an all-round sort of gritty drama. Like I say, captured the time period very well. Everyone gave great performances here, and the boxing scenes themselves were really exciting to watch. It's very obvious that everyone really trained up, got in shape for these things, and really knew what they were doing here. Yeah, all around good time, and I think they've already filmed season 2 and it's coming out hopefully later this year or start of next year. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Get watching if you haven't, and if you like a bit of gritty drama.
You like big sweaty men hitting each other.
Yes.
WWE has just moved to Netflix.
True, yeah.
Also, you could watch this on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Next up, Babygirl. I couldn't tell you whether it's a recommend or not from me. I didn't really watch it. I was a bit preoccupied with this movie. Just doing other things. Doing other things in the back of the theater. In the back of the movie, I was doing other things.
You were on your phone.
Yeah, that was it. Playing Candy
Horrible.
Crush Saga.
Oh, you're one of those, are you?
Yeah.
On your phone
Full
all the time.
volume. Full volume.
I'm sick of it.
Full volume.
No, I'm sick of it.
I just don't think Antonio Banderas deserves my attention. Yeah, no, this is a recommend from me. I think this is a movie that kind of explores less the romantic side of relationships and more just full on to the sexual relationships between a woman and her husband and the intern she takes as a lover that she has a secret affair with. And it's this whole movie that's centered around this weird power dynamic of the fact that Nicole Kidman's character is the CEO of this big tech company. This guy gets brought on as an intern and chooses her as his mentor for this program within the company. And there's this weird power dynamic where she's the boss of the whole thing. She can let him go at any time, but then in their actual relationship, he's completely in control and getting her to do all these humiliating things. It is a very power play kind of thing. It explores that whole world of dominant and submissive relationships, and it's very upfront about it. It doesn't really hold back in what's being depicted, and it really stresses the importance of that side of relationships being healthy and understanding each other's wants and needs and desires, and how not having a active sexual relationship kind of has the power to destroy even the most well-maintained marriages. Because she's got this perfect family of the supportive husbands and the creative kids who have bright futures ahead of them. And she's I'm gonna throw that all away. I'm willing to throw that all away because this is kinky as shit for me. And it's another one of those movies where performance-wise, 3 leads absolutely nail it, especially once the relationship comes to light. Antonio Banderas, once he finds out, this is the most devastating man I've ever seen in my life. And just watching watching the actors in this do their thing is fucking great. Yeah, this is very edge of your seat, not action stuff, but it's that whole tension built around them sneaking around, potentially getting found out. It's done so well, and I think you really are sort of gripped by it. So credit to everyone who's involved in this, because this was great. This shit was great.
Next up, Adolescence.
It's something you tell a child on their 12th birthday. Next up, Adolescence.
Next up, Adolescence.
You've got some shit to go through.
Good luck. Good fucking luck. This show has been talk of the bloody town. I don't know if it's just my algorithm, but it feels like everyone has been talking about this, and rightly so. It's sparked a lot of discourse, as much as I hate that word, a lot of debate. It's got some very important messaging in it. It's a show that is very much about the messaging over things like narrative and plot and all that malarkey. It's absolutely a recommend from me, by the way. I absolutely love this. This is a series from the director of Boiling Point, Philip Barantini, and written and produced by Stephen Graham as well. And Boiling Point is probably like top 3 films for me ever. I absolutely love that film. And this uses the same one-shot technique here, where it is genuinely one take. The difference here is they had to do that 4 separate times for 4 episodes. Such a technical achievement here from a production standpoint. I was in awe. It's one of the main reasons I love Boiling Point. I sort of touched on it a little bit with September 5th there. I love that camera style of being really in the action and having that kind of relentlessness to it, like especially when it's one take, you don't get a break. The tension just builds and builds, and you don't get that relief that you get from editing that cuts around in different scenes or even different shots. That is just gone, and you're left with this one view of everything happening, and you're racing around with the characters. You're really in the moment with them, and it just adds to the impact and the sort of heavy weight of the themes, and especially in this film. Boiling Point was a stressful film and is very sort of tense and exciting, and Adolescence uses that same thing, but it's very, I guess the messaging is a bit deeper. It's basically, if you haven't seen it, it's about a 13-year-old boy who is accused of murdering a young black girl that he goes to school with. We touched again before on the sort of incel culture right now, and I'm going to name names. What Andrew Tate has caused the manosphere, I've heard it referred to as. Yeah, just these online forums and these influencers, if that's the right term for them, these podcasts that are teaching young boys that women are objects, and how men are superior and how they should treat women and how they should want to be seen by women, and all that stuff. Young boys are being brought up on the internet from birth, learning about this stuff now in all, the social media has been around a long time now, and so these younger generations are growing up with it, and are being indoctrinated, brainwashed, whatever term you want to use for it. The point of it is kind of how it can be anyone, right? Like, a big point of the show is that the kid is not abused. He doesn't come from a broken family or a broken home. His dad, played expertly here by Stephen Graham, he's got a bit of a temper, but he doesn't abuse him or stuff like that. So it's just he's sort of a stereotypical normal, upper working class, middle class family from England, just getting on with their lives.
The bloke, he's the prototypical bloke.
Yeah, he's the bloke. He's the bloke, I should say. And yet he's still sucked into this ideology that men are oppressed and should rise up and be the alpha male and all this. And the point is that it can be anybody. It's not about race or anything like that. It's affecting. The tentacles of these influences are affecting the lives of everyday people that are just trying to get on, making a living and living a normal family life. Yeah, I think I'm speaking in circles now, but it's that's sort of what it's about.
That's interesting. You said that about whether influencer was the correct term for these kind of people. Surely they're the only ones who should be called.
It's quite literally
because they're the ones who are actually affecting people's minds. I don't give a fuck about someone dancing in front of a fucking train or pushing the makeup products or whatever. I don't give a fuck about it. These people are actually changing perspectives, in a negative way, but they're the ones actually having an effect on people.
You're right. We should reserve that word for them. But influencing in a very bad way.
It's already got such negative connotations, the word influencer. Let's just save it for them, because then we can continue to fucking bully people with it.
Honestly, imagine having such a negative impact online with the content you're making that Netflix make a 4-part drama about how bad it is.
About how much of a dick
insane.
You are.
How I don't understand how these people can think like that. Anyway, I absolutely love this. It profoundly affected me, emotionally affected me. I cried and teared up multiple times here. I think the performances are brilliant. Owen Cooper, that plays Jamie, the main boy here. This was his first time on screen. For those who have seen it, episode 3, you'll know what I'm talking about, where it's just him and the therapist. Was apparently his first time acting on screen ever. which is absolutely insane to me. That, like, what a baptism of fire! Like, an hour straight.
Like, that's
by the way,
the
like,
first part of it that they filmed.
Yeah, and it's like super intense. Just, the focus is on him and the therapist for the most part. That's a lot of scripts to memorize. That's a lot of movements to memorize. I think, with these things, I think the way it works is there's a bit of improvisation, looseness built in, because, you don't want to make a mistake and have to start again from 45 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think they're allowed to fuck up a bit and just kind of try and move on and keep going as best you can if they do. That's the sort of apparently how they worked. I think just a great achievement from everyone involved here, and it has caused a lot of discourse. A lot of people don't fucking get it, by the way. A lot of people do not understand what this is about at all. It's kind of annoying.
I can say it's not just your algorithm, because I have yet to watch it and I haven't interacted with anything, but like it shows up on my timeline.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
so,
it's
it's pretty widespread.
They're talking about showing it in like Parliament and stuff, because it is such an important message about the impact that social media is starting to have. We're getting to that point now where generations are growing up and being born into it. Like, that's how long it's been around now, and it's there are kids out there younger than YouTube and Google and all that stuff. So actually, you know what? In fact, every kid is younger than YouTube. I've just realised.
Yeah.
Because YouTube itself is like 20 years old or whatever. Yeah. So I think we're starting to see the impact, and I think this has opened a lot of people's eyes as well, and a lot of parents' eyes, because that's a big theme as well. There's a line Stephen Graham says. He was in his room, like, we thought he was safe. But the point is, the internet is there. Like, he was still able to access all of that. It doesn't matter where you physically hold them. It doesn't matter how much you physically protect them. Online can still get in there. I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes to that.
Yeah, it's so, like, just unfiltered and unmonitored, which is, like, is great, but at the same time, terrible.
Yeah, it's like, it's the bad and the good. Like, it's the best and worst thing humanity has ever invented, probably.
Complete freedom to be like as creative and like inventive as you want, like in terms of those spheres of creating content for people to enjoy. At the same time, gives a platform for anyone to spout whatever the fuck they want with no consequence.
Yeah. So very tense topics today.
Yeah, let's turn it off. Let's turn the internet off. Actually,
switch it off. I think we should be done. I think it's gone too far.
Yeah.
Careful.
Sorry, I missed
almost
time.
Knocked,
failed the quick. Sorry, almost failed the quick time event. Next up, Y2K. That one's for all the people still in 1999 who haven't quite caught up with us yet.
Here it comes.
It's on its way.
Here it comes. Ooh. Computers are gonna die. Ooh. All the computers are gonna break.
Mixed on this.
Uh-oh.
I'd say it just falls out of the recommend. I think it's not a recommend, but just, and there'll be some comparisons to the last thing I talked about, because there's a lot of similarities there. But for this one, I think just because of the concept and the potential it had, it falls a bit short for me. So this is a movie that follows a lot of the conventions. It's almost framed like the typical like high school teen rom-com about like the loser main character trying to win the heart of like the popular girl, but then it's also like a schlocky campy horror set at the turn of the new millennium about the robots rising up and turning against humanity. So a lot of things going on. A lot of things got to melding together there.
Themes. Oh, we're covering some heavy themes today.
We're going to get real deep for a second. If I could just get a little heavy.
This isn't even the first time I've talked about robot uprising this episode.
No, I think we're due. It's going to be like the whole thing of like the Ultron deciding he needed to wipe out humanity because he spent 10 minutes on the internet.
He watched Adolescence. He was like, is this what is going on?
Quite a star-studded cast. Jaden Martell plays the lead, who I really liked. He was from the It reboots. He was in Arcadian as well. He's done a few. So like he's not unfamiliar to like the whole horror sphere.
He's not a complete unknown. That would have worked if it was last episode. That would have worked last episode.
He is a complete man. Yeah, Rachel Ziegler in this, contentious but like personality at the moment in some spheres.
Big fan of Rachel Ziegler myself.
I haven't seen what the fuck she's done to piss everyone off, but some people just, I don't know.
She's an outspoken woman in Hollywood.
Oh, she
They don't like
has
that.
a voice. Oh,
They don't like
sorry.
that.
Oh, apologies.
They don't like strong women.
They don't like that. I've gonna forget the names. The kid from Deadpool 2, and also brother from season 4 of Stranger Things. The guy who works at the pizza place. You know. Jonathan Stoner friend, yeah.
Yes, I know exactly.
Who also plays a stoner in this, so the guy's being typecast.
He does the same thing in everything.
I will say, as a point for him, he has the funniest death in like the whole movie. There's some good stuff in there. I would have liked a bit more creativity in terms of like the death scenes in this. It's mostly just a lot of like stabbing and impaling and a little bit more creativity, like given that you have all these different devices of the time to work with. I think I would like to see more of like just what each device can do independently in terms of murdery type stuff. Would have been cool, because eventually they all sort of like start bonding together and forming these big like crazy looking robots. And yeah, it's cool like visually, because you just see how these are put together from like all the old tech, because obviously it's New Year's 1999, so a lot of the tech that they show or like is very like dated to us. It's like you see all the fucking like wires they have, and like that's such a novel concept now. Like shit had wires back then.
Wires?
Like
What
the like? There's gonna be kids watching who are like, why? What
is that really
wires?
long thing?
What do you mean? What is that?
I'm a proud part of Team Wired headphones.
Oh yeah.
I'm still there.
I think the only time I use wireless if I'm like out for like a walk, like I have a set for like just out walking, but like all my computer stuff like wired, easy. I just like it better. Sorry, I just like it.
They don't run out of battery.
They don't run out of battery. You never have to worry about that. But yeah, it's cool seeing the effort they put into like making sure everyone was kind of authentically talking like the lingo of the time. There's a lot of fucking just words in this. It's like, I can't believe we fucking used to talk like that. I can't believe people were so fucking like heavily praising Limp Bizkit.
That's coming back around.
Looking back at it, yeah.
They're going to have a resurgence, I'm telling you that much.
They're going to have a resurgence. They're going to come back.
Did you see Fred Durst recently? He's got like an afro now.
What?
It's crazy. I'm not even exaggerating. It's crazy.
The fuck, Freddy? Yeah, so like the soundtrack also quite cool. They do everything to sort of reflect the time, and so it's got a little bit of a nostalgia hit. I think especially to like our generation, that's going to be sort of like early childhood for us, I guess. But yeah, like it's just cool to see how they represent a lot of the stuff, especially seeing like there's an intro sequence where we have our main characters like doing like online chat stuff and seeing the fucking like the dial up and like that fucking awful sound it makes when you're trying to connect, and like all these different chat windows and the fucking video buffering and like how it all used to look. And it's like, how far we've come. Oh, yes. How far we've come.
The family computer. Just one computer in the living room.
One computer in the living room. Don't use LimeWire on it. Please. Please avoid. Funny, like, I think the marketing for this, how big and bold it is, like, on the trailers, when, like, one of the first things you see is, like, from, like, producer Jonah Hill. Like, I'm so, like, fucking, like, I'm surprised they're still really pushing his name, like, attached to these products, because...
Yeah. Turn people off.
I feel like he's one of those ones who's never like come out and sort of refuted any of the claims that were made against him. He's never done anything to dispute that. He's been quite quiet. He went underground. Yeah. And he's just waiting like, have they stopped talking about me yet?
Can I come back?
Can I come back? But yeah, I think the pitfall this movie falls into is the fact that a lot of these kind of movies where it's like the teen high school comedy, at least for me, the jokes fall flat a lot of the time because they fall into that trap of just, you know, sex joke, drug reference equals funny. Like, and that's all we've got to fall back on is like, is like sex joke and drug references, and it gets tiring by the end of it.
It was the same with Dogman, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sex jokes and drug references. Sex jokes and dog references.
Sex and dog references, yeah.
Yeah.
Dog misuse.
I wouldn't be able to tell because I didn't see the production of this movie or anything about it, but from the eye, just from the naked eye, what I can appreciate is that it was very ambitious and that it looked like it was mostly practical shit they did. You can tell by the way shit moves. In certain scenes, like the way like these loose wires come out and it's kind of like stilted and jittery a lot of the time, like it seems like it was done practically. It was very ambitious because it seems like it was quite low budget to an extent. It enhances it in some scenes, like there's quite literally a scene where a guy gets decapitated, and they show it quite close up, his head on the floor, and it's a very obvious like model of the guy, and not even like a good model. It's quite cheap,
right?
But like, I would rather, that's, to me, like, that's funny. Like, that they've done that.
Yeah, was that not kind of a
enhances
bit like meta, I guess, because it's like 90s and
yeah, I think that's part of it, is they wanted to almost make the effects worse on purpose. Yeah.
Give it that feel.
Yeah, I'd rather look at that than like some CGI monstrosity that they fucking... Especially when you're making such like a gory, like slasher fest kind of movie. Like, nothing turns me off a horror movie worse than CGI blood. It always looks bad. I don't think they've ever been able to do it good. Yeah, in terms of like the potential this movie had, there was just so much there, and if they just pushed it a little bit further, but I mean, maybe it was like a budget constraints kind of thing, and they were kind of limited with what they could do. It's still like decent. I'd watch it again because it's quite easy. It's easy to watch. They have like a very goofy villain who is sort of like not even like a proper like presence. It's just like the overlord consciousness that's controlling all these robots, and even he like speaks like it's fucking 2000. I think it very narrowly avoids being a recommend, but it's proper like on that borderline. Just with a tiny bit of improvement, I think it would have been really good, really good. But as it is, like, it's fine. It's fine.
Next up, Severance Season 2. The long-awaited Season 2. This is a recommend from me. Severance as a whole, I guess. Don't just watch Season 2.
No, start on
watch
Season
2. Watch Season 1 first.
That's when it gets real good.
If you watch Season 1, you're obviously going to watch Season 2. I was one of the few that watched Severance when it came out in, I want to say 21... 22, kind of. It was sort of end of lockdown kind of era when there was like 3 things on Apple TV, like full stop. Directed by Ben Stiller, starring Adam Scott, Britt Lauer, John Turturro, lots of people here. Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette. Big, great cast. Super cool concept. You know, you split your brain between work and life, so you don't have to remember what you do at work, and vice versa. Because of I think the writer's strike and COVID and various creative differences and things like that, Season 2 just got delayed, and you know, they've redone things, I think, and it's just taken a long time to come out. But it finally arrived, and for the most part delivered. It's such a high concept show, and it's shrouded in such mystery, the concept of what this company even does, that stuff like that, I think when you build something like that, is always so hard to live up to. It feels like whatever the answer is going to be is never going to be as satisfying as the theories you come up with or what you think it's going to be or what you expect. But I think Season 2 has done a great job in kind of revealing what it is about this company and what they're doing and what it all means and why Severance was invented in the first place. I think it has done a really good, satisfying job of revealing what that is and tying it all in. And it's obviously been planned from the start. If it hasn't, then they've done really fucking well here in planting seeds. That it feels like they've had a plan to do this and they knew what was going on and they've managed to take their time with it. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of reveals this season. I saw a lot of complaints that it was a bit slow, but I disagree. I think just generally as a show, it can be quite slow paced at times, but then there's these like massive reveals that, because of the build up and because of the time it takes with it, become so impactful and important because of that. I'm trying not to give like loads away here because it is the kind of show where if you talk about details of it, it just spoils like tons of shit. Brilliant performances here. The writing on this is great. The directing is so special, especially episode 7 of this series specifically was directed by the cinematographer of the show, Jessica. Her surname escapes me. I will put it on the screen. The episode explored a bit of the life before Severance with the main couple here. And I think it's just such a cinematic episode, especially the way they constructed these flashbacks. Some of the shots were so creative, some of the transitions, and there was a lot of big plot elements revealed in this episode, so it was quite an important one as well. And then I think towards the end of the season, I felt the pacing got lost a bit because there was that episode which sort of took us away from the main action to give a bit of context and stuff. And then there was another bottle episode after that with Patricia Arquette's character in a completely different place than The Office. Because it was being released weekly, you get these 2 episodes where you don't really get the main gang together, which is a huge selling point of the show, is the main 4. I think this season they've been separated a bit too much, just by the nature of where the plots have ended up and stuff, and them all having separate arcs and threads. So yeah, I felt it just faltered a bit there, but then the finale really brought it back and satisfied me and sort of made all that worth it. And I think on a rewatch it would make a lot more sense, but because it was being released weekly, we went like 2 or 3 weeks without kind of the main gang, and it sort of felt like it was losing everything it was setting up in the first half while we were waiting for the finale, if any of that made any sense at all. Yeah, I think they stuck the landing here. I think it's a really good show. It's going to go down as one of the greats, and I think it's the main reason a lot of people have Apple TV now.
Like that and fucking Ted Lasso.
Yes. Yeah. So
last up, Heart Eyes. Incredibly out of season. I mean, it was out of season when I watched it. I think I watched this like back end of February. So,
I mean, if you make a film based on one day, what are the odds people are going to go see it on one day?
Yeah, especially when everyone's already got plans on that day.
Exactly.
This one is a recommend from me. We'll finish off on a solid recommend. Woo-hoo. Similar kind of concept to Y2K in that they've taken a rom-com formula and mixed it with horror. This is like a slasher horror movie. I just think this one's done a lot better. It's a lot more solid, and I think they really kind of play around with that original formula, especially with the way the movie's structured and set out. It's very funny to see like the tropes come in of that initial, like, you know, the single woman who's been so career focused and she has struggled with like finding the right man, then she meets one in the coffee shop and they have that cute like little meet up. After a few minutes ago, you've just watched someone get crushed to death in a wine press. Like, it's that kind of thing where like they take full advantage of like the blending of the two genres to really kind of keep you on your toes and recontextualize a lot of stuff. It's one of the ones where they bring a lot of modern ideas into it. They talk about they have little bits where they do talk about like the impact of social media and like influences, and I think a lot of it is quite tongue-in-cheek in a way. The opening of the movie is kind of like this really romantic scene set up of this couple, like of the guy like proposing to her, and then cut to him like talking to the cameraman like, did you get it? Like, did you get did you get the shot? Like, we need this for our Instagram, like that kind of thing. Yeah. A lot of the jokes are set up using that kind of thing as well. A lead character works at like a marketing agency, and they start off getting like a load of backlash on social media because her marketing campaign for Valentine's Day is centered around like death and like death do us part and like romance and dying for like one another. And it's like, this is really insensitive with like this serial killer that's going around killing couples on Valentine's Day. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? We do have a connection here to Y2K because I didn't really know anyone from the cast of this movie at all, but now I do because I know who Mason Gooding is because he also appears in that movie. So I think I looked up, he is in like the new Scream movies, but I haven't watched them yet. And I thought like this took a lot of inspiration from Scream. It is quite sort of self-aware and meta with the formula at times, right down to like sort of how they present the villain towards the end and like a lot of the reveals they do. But in terms of like being an actual slasher movie, if you're a slasher fan, this has got some good stuff in it. I don't think the actual iconography of Heart Eyes is going to be one that is long lasting. Maybe just down to the fact that it is so intrinsically tied with Valentine's Day. I don't
watch it every year.
Yeah, it's going to become a new tradition. I think they should have a horror movie for every holiday.
Pancake Day horror movie.
They've done Christmas.
Suffocates people with pancakes.
Christmas. I don't know if there's an Easter one. Maybe there should be. If
Kill an Easter bunny or something.
They had an anthology horror movie at one point that was all short films based around like different holidays, but I don't think
we don't have enough holidays over here.
We don't have enough holidays. Yeah,
America have like Labor Day, Memorial Day,
Veteran Day,
Independence Day. We don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah, I think we should have like,
we have half term.
I think we should have one a week, really, a national holiday for just day off work every week. I think we should have.
We have the bank holidays, but they're not really about anything. You're just
most places are still operating as normal anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't actually make much of a difference.
Fuck's sake. Mason Gooding, I will give all the flowers in the world because he is so charming in this. Yeah, he does great as like the really charming lead romantic interest who just kind of springs into this woman's life, and is immediate, like, not even really, it does that kind of thing when they first start out, and the situation in which they kind of come together is a little bit, seems like they're going to be rivals at first, and then it's kind of builds from there. There's a lot of twists and turns throughout. I think it's just so funny watching this, and how really this is a story of a couple's like blossoming romance whilst being surrounded by a fucking killer that is trying to like stab them to bits. So yeah, I think if you're looking for something to watch on Valentine's Day and you're sick of just, The Notebook or The Proposal or like any of the traditional rom-coms, yeah, give it a try. Give it a try. I think it's fun. Even if it's not Valentine's Day, just fucking stick that on and say, I want a movie that's like just under 2 hours and has stabbing in it. Has a bit of stabbing in it. Sometimes I'm just in the mood for a bit of stabbing. And you can't quote me on that because the police will get involved.
Do not quote me on
Don't quote me on that.
No. Well, that's it for another 2 months of the monthly thing. It will be monthly again going forward, hopefully.
Our schedule stopped fucking us over.
Yes, we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming next month. Because at the moment it's the bi-monthly thing.
And it doesn't have it doesn't have the same rate. It's a bit too much of a mouthful, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for watching HAZMAT, reviewing everything they saw in February and March 2025.
If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see us do more stuff like this in the future, you can support the channel by leaving a like or a comment. You can hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you'll be alerted to all our more recent uploads. And as always, all of our socials will be listed down in the description.
And join us next time where I split my brain so I don't have to remember recording.
And I'm gonna get a little toy monkey that instead of kills people at random, it just tells you what job you're gonna have next.
Oh.
Greg's Baker.
Not again!